How do I get rid of that? Oh, I forgot. You know, it's been so long since I've used my S5. The only reason why I stopped using it. Oh, there we go. Oh, okay. The only reason why I stopped using the S5 is because I had like a little mark on it that like I just needed to get it cleaned. Um, well, I ended up cleaning it myself, which that is a lot easier than I thought it would be. I just hope I didn't mess it up. It doesn't seem like I messed it up, but you never know. What's up, everybody? It's your neighborhood friendly greaser, Aaron Chavez, aka the Rockabilly Buddha, and today I kind of want to just go over my first initial impressions of the X-H2S. Is it more than just gas? Maybe. I'm hoping. But at the end of the day, it probably is just gas. But let's go over it, okay? Well, here's the thing. I haven't really been able to shoot as much as I've been wanting to with this camera specifically. So I've only used it in very, very minimal settings, you know? So everything that I talk about here is just everything that I have used so far. There's tons of stuff that I haven't had a chance to play with, but I got plenty of time for that. I'm not getting rid of this camera. Spoiler alert. Probably should have said that before I... No, it's fine. Whatever. Let's get into it. If you've been following the channel for a minute, you know that I am a huge fan of not only Fujifilm, but of the original X-H1 when that first came out. That camera was just so amazing with some of the stuff that it came out with. You know, it was the very first of its kind when it came to like the IBIS as well as F-Log, had the Eterna profile from Fuji, and yeah, it was just an all-around amazing camera. The only thing that I hated about the camera is the fact that it didn't have a fully articulating screen, and at that time Canon had just released the EOS R, which had that articulating screen. They had also the RP, which was pretty comparable in terms of price point with the H1, but it was very limited with some of the stuff that I could do and whatnot, but that's neither here nor there. So when I found out that the H2 was coming out, I was ecstatic. I was like, oh my god. I really hope that they take everything that they put into the first camera and just make it better, make it beefier, throw everything that they could. And you know what? They did. But they put it in two different cameras. They have, you know, the regular H2, which is the 40 megapixel sensor. Little overkill for me, but it does have the ability to shoot 8K if you want that. Don't need that. And this, the video centered H2S. I love this camera. Like, seriously. With this only being 24 megapixels, that's all I really need, specifically for hybrid shooting. You know, I don't need 40 megapixels. I don't need anything crazy. I'm mostly going to be using this for, you know, for video. I'm going to be using this in the field as far as like when I'm doing a lot of my behind the scenes. I am also going to be using the S5 sometimes, but I think when it comes to these two, it's mostly going to be this. Sorry, I'm probably getting ahead of myself, but yeah. So what have I used this for? Okay, I've used it for a couple of photo shoots. I used this for a boudoir photo shoot for my friend's birthday, as well as doing a little bit of a video for her. Now, like I said, pictures, flawless, Fujifilm, mwah, gotta love them. I have no complaints with that. The video, like, oh my god. The video functionality in this camera, it still blows my mind what it can and cannot do. Like, my god. Where do I even start? Honestly, that's the hardest part with this, you know, first impressions video. So with this camera, coming in with the ability to shoot ProRes, I knew I had to try it. Now, I also was very well aware that you needed a very specific card for it, and that card, it happens to be the, the CF-Xpress Type B, I think it is, this guy right here. These are not cheap cards, not really, which is kind of a downer, but whatever. I went on Amazon, bought this one for, what is this? This is a 512 gig card for maybe $200-300. I honestly can't remember. I'll put the link down below, let you know what I got. But this is like, yeah, it was the cheapest card for what I needed it for. So when I did this little video for my friend's birthday, I shot it all in ProRes F-Log 2. If you don't know what ProRes is, by the way, go ahead, Google it. I'm not the best person to really talk about that a little bit more. I just know that it's a very great, high quality video setting for recording. Match that up with F-Log 2, like, whoo! I only use the ProRes LT, which is like the light version when it comes to like, you know, the settings. They have 3 different versions. They have the ProRes LT, the 422 regular ProRes, and then they also have a HQ ProRes for high quality. I have not been able to use that yet. I don't know how well my computer is going to hold up with that kind of, you know, file. It handled really well with the LT and F-Log 2, so that's pretty nice. I did record in 10-bit. Now let's talk about color grading. Speaking of F-Log, so in the past I have used F-Log originally for like my X-H2S X-T4. My god, I can't talk today. I have used it on my X-T4 a couple times. Super easy to color grade, a little bit easier to color grade than on my S5, but to be fair, I haven't really played too much with the log settings on the S5, but I have always been drawn towards the Fuji F-Log system just because it's just, you know, I know it's easier for me to get the desired looks that I've wanted. F-Log 2 improves on that. It gives you more dynamic range. It is super easy to color grade, color correct. Like, I was able to just get the image how I wanted pretty fast. I was kind of surprised. And DaVinci Resolve, you know, I handled it like a champ, you know, so it was nice. I have not had the ability to use the slow-mo function. I know it has the 4K 120p option, which is fantastic, and I want to use that. I just don't know how or when I'm gonna be able to do that. But the fact that that's in the camera too, that's sick. That is so sick. Now, one thing that I do on all of my Fuji cameras is I customize the hell out of them. And the fact that this camera has so many buttons that you can program in order for you to make shooting easier, it's pretty awesome. You know, it has what, 1, 2, about 9 buttons that you can customize. Now with the T4, you don't have nearly as many. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have 7, so you're missing 2. I guess it's not that big of a deal, but if you are a hybrid shooter and you do need all of the buttons mapped, those 2 extra buttons does help quite a bit. Now let's talk about the IBIS in this guy. Like, that has blown me out of the water. I thought the S5 was amazing with IBIS, but I don't have a lens for the S5 that has optical stabilization. For the H2S, whatever, I do have that. I have this guy right here, which is the 18 to 55 OIS lens, and you know, these two, my god, this is a power team, like seriously. My last video, when I did the behind the scenes for that meetup that I went to, I shot it all with this. There was a couple of scenes in there that surprised me, like especially the part towards the end where there's like that one shot where the one guy, Johnny, is kind of like directing all the models. It looks like I was on a tripod because it was so well like steady. I wasn't using a tripod. I wasn't even leaning on anything. I was just holding the camera like this. And that shot looked so buttery smooth, like very, very minimal shaking. And I'm like, wow, I did that? No, we did that. I've also noticed that just the IBIS in the camera alone, when you're trying to, you know, get the shot that you want, especially in low light settings. A couple weeks ago, I ended up doing a photo shoot for one of my friends. They wanted to do the shoot in like this like really dark neon room, which was pretty badass. You know, it was one of my favorites. But the problem is that I didn't have the right lens that was like fast enough, so I ended up opening up the shutter speed pretty wide open. I think I got it down to, what was it? It was like 1/80th, maybe 1/60th. Like, yeah, it was pretty wide open, and I was worried that there was going to be some type of motion blur because I didn't know if I was going to be shaky trying to get that shot. But surprisingly, no. Like, it turned out really, really well. Very, very minimal shaking. I mean, it was a little bit out of focus because I didn't have the right lens. But you know what? it still came out really good, handled itself in low light. I do kind of want to buy a faster lens, pair it up with this guy, and then just kind of seeing how it does at night. There's a couple of spots around town that I kind of want to do, like either nighttime street photography or grabbing a model and just kind of using our surroundings just to kind of see what we can create with lower light, conditions. But that's gonna be for another time. And honestly, that's all I really had a chance to use this camera for. Really just those 2 shoots. I am planning on taking it out for street photography, and this is going to be, I think it's going to be my go-to for video and photos, or at least a good B cam for this guy, or this is going to be the B cam. I don't know. I love all my cameras and I actively use them all. This one is definitely going to be in that rotation quite a bit, especially if I need to film something for YouTube, because the autofocus, why didn't I talk about that? Oh my god, the autofocus on this guy is pretty good. Like in terms of like pictures, I didn't really have to worry about, missing a shot. I did miss a couple of shots for that neon dark room, but that's just because I was, I didn't have the right lens, yada yada yada. I already spoke on that. But like for that meetup, as well as for my friend's birthday shoot, yeah, no, I didn't have any issues. And then even with like filming, like it was pretty good. Like I'm impressed. It's definitely stepped up quite a bit from the H1, that's for sure. Granted, they made like how many more cameras since then, so they should have updated that autofocus. But it's because the autofocus has been so good on this camera that I'm going to be using it for filming a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, because with this, I trust it. I know it's going to work for me. With the S5, it's going to be a little bit hit or miss, especially if I am filming myself. So yeah, this is going to definitely replace the S5 for that kind of stuff, for sure. And that's it. That is my first impressions on this camera. I've only used it for 2-3 times. Definitely going to be using it a lot more. In fact, I may end up wanting to go take it out to do some street photography here in a bit. Who knows? Or not. I might just stay in today. I haven't decided yet. I'm just kind of going with the flow. Alright everybody, well, that's going to be the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If this video has helped you out even just a little bit with deciding if you want the H2 or the H2S, I'm definitely going to be biased here and say H2S, because this camera is amazing. It's a little pricey, but it's worth it. So worth it. I'm planning on diving into this camera a lot more, so I will be doing a full review instead of just this first impressions video. And yeah, we'll go from there. So, like always, love, peace, hair grease. Stay greasy, everybody, and stay creative.